Share. Do you see this? See my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So today we're gonna talk about human subject research and the institutional review board. So anyone applied before for DACA protocol to IRB? No? No one? So let's talk about what constitutes human subject research and what is the institutional review board and application process. Okay. Let's go. So why there are requirements for human subject research? Because we have to protect the subjects which are sharing in this research, protect their rights and their well-being. Okay? I need it to be interactive. Can you just put your microphones on, all of you, and we can just discuss it? So I can hear you. Okay. What do you think a human subject research? Any suggestions?
Research with people at the center. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
research that involves people. If you interact with a human being or interfere with them in any form, this constitutes human subject research. Right. So you need to understand how to comply with the rules and what are the ethical considerations in human subject research. Why this is important? Because all of you at a point is gonna like do some kind of human subject research, either like you take medical records and do retrospective study on a case or something, and you want to just publish this later on. So at this point, if you are a student with Western here, you need to have the IRB approval. So you apply for IRB approval by submitting a protocol called IRB protocol. I'm gonna come to this later. So the submission to the IRB needs everything about your research, basically. Your objectives, methodology, risks to participants, plans to take a consent, and you know probably the types of consents here. And then the IRB is going to evaluate everything and see if this comply with the ethical consideration and align with the institute values. And they will make sure that there are enough measures, sorry, to protect the human subject and their sensitive information. So that's the idea of IRB approval. So let's go to our IRB protocol here and how you fill out the protocol quickly. So the first part is for IRB to fill out. And here is we'll come to this later on, what this does mean. And then your information as a PI, as a student, you should have a faculty PI, okay? And those are the contacts of the PI, email and phone and so on. And you need to specify if there is another IRB involved, like some other place or not, and if this project is approved or not by the IRB, the other IRB, and the location of the project. There are requirements for some locations to get a letter from that place. And then you talk about the research quality. So if this is a proposal or quality improvement, like research or quality improvement project. So if it's a research proposal, student thesis, dissertation, class project, quality improvement project, and we'll come to this, why we specify all of that. Then you need to specify if there's grant, like your project was funded by a grant or not. And the key personnel in the project and their conflict of interest, if any. And then the names. Any person shares and the project should be here. Like, do you see that that screen or not?
No, no, we
You
see.
don't. So you have to tell me, guys. Let me stop sharing and share that. I thought when I click the link, it's gonna come automatically to it. Okay. You see it now?
Yeah, we
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's go from the beginning then. This is the IRB protocol application here. That part for the IRB to fill. And here the information of the project, like the project title, the PI, and PI contacts, and the location of the project. As we said, if the project like will be done in some place like our healthcare center here, patient care center, or other facilities in Western, you know, need to have a letter from these places with a permission, granting a permission to conduct this research. And then if this is a research or just quality improvement survey or project, then you have to specify what type of research, and we're gonna come back to this later. If it's grant funded by a grant or something, you have to specify. And if there's conflict of interest, of course, you have to declare. And then the personnel here, all the students and their affiliation, which year, their contacts. We will come to the city training. Most of you or all of you did a city training, right? That's right, yes.
Yes.
So there is a specific city training for human subject research, like a module or so you have to do if you do any human subject research. Okay. And certification signatures and subject recruitment. Why the subject recruitment here is important? You're gonna come to this. Any idea?
You need to know like who you're testing and what conditions.
All right, correct. And there are protected individuals under the law, like the Code of Federal Regulations. There are some protected categories or cohorts, like the pregnant women, fetuses, children, the minors under 18, prisoners, people with impaired consent capacity. Those are called protected subjects. So any of these involved in your protocol is going to go for non-exempted protocol, and you have to have the full convened meeting of the IRB approval. Okay, Then these parts are like the essential for the sample. Even if there is tissue samples or something you work with, you need to have approval. We'll talk about this in detail a little bit later. Then how many subjects will be recruited, like your power analysis, or if it's like sample, convenience sample or something, number of subjects sharing in that, you have to specify. If you alter the number later on, you need the IRB to approve that. Like if you say that I need to increase the number or change the sample characteristics, you're gonna submit amendment request to the IRB and they gonna approve it accordingly. Age range of the subjects, this is important. Then you mention inclusion and exclusion criteria, what subjects are included and what subjects should be excluded from your research, and how you got the sample here. Is it random sampling? Is it convenience? Is it power analysis, and so on. Now, the subjects, how you contact them, by letter, notices, in person, and so on. And if something not in English language, you need to verify the translation accuracy. And if there is a potential for you have to coercion or something of the subjects, you have to mention here, like student recruited by a teacher who controls their grade. Then consent for research is very important. So there are cases you have to have informed consent, and sometimes this can be waived. Okay, those are the types of consent and assent for children. And then the confidentiality, this is the most important subject here or section, how you protect the confidentiality of this subject, and even if they're tissue samples, especially if they are associated with their protected health information. And you have to specify if this can be directly or indirectly linked to the name of that person. So this affects the privacy of the subject. So you have to describe that, and you tell the measures you've taken to protect their privacy. Okay. And if it's like under FERPA or HIPAA, you have to specify and describe how you prevent or protect this information. And then what you want to do with this information. Publish paper, present conference meeting, and so on. And if you're gonna report this data in aggregate or no, in aggregate means like the results of the research without mentioning specific person data. And who have access to that, and they need 3 years, minimum of 3 years to keep the information. And then you have to shred or delete the electronic files. And then now the benefits and risks to the subjects. This is a very important section too. So how this benefits the subjects, or maybe benefiting the community at large by creating generalizable knowledge, which can be used to treat patients or to solve a problem. Healthcare, of course. And then the potential risks for subjects, even psychological risk. And what if this risk has been described in the consent or not. And of course, there should be a balance between the risks and benefits. And if there are direct benefits to that person or to the knowledge, medical knowledge, and how this balance can be described here. And then you have to describe the alternatives to this intervention, if it's like interventional or therapeutic study. If the exception has been used, like yes or no, if you withhold any information to the subject or not, from the subject or not, and if you provide compensation, and the compensation also is important to be reasonable. Like if you give like $50 gift card or something to cover the transportation or so, that's reasonable. If you want to give like more money, this can be considered like coercion or something to that subject to share in this study. And the narrative description is to describe your project, the background, significance, and what is the hypothesis and specific aims and everything about the project, and how this research is going to be conducted and research design. Okay. And they created some tables for you to fill out. Okay. And how you analyze the data, and if this project is a student project or not. It's going to contribute to the existing scientific knowledge or not. And at the end, bibliographies, like the references. All right, we'll go back now to our presentation. Right here. Sure. So we have an idea now about the application. Then what constitutes research? Any idea how we define if this is a research project or non-research project? Any suggestions? Okay, yeah.
I was gonna say if there's a like a data collection process, or if it's supposed to answer a particular question.
Yeah. This is the question, or are you answering my question?
Yeah, I'm answering like what constitutes research, like if the process is supposed to answer like a scientific question or something.
Great.
Yeah.
Answer scientific question. So to determine, actually, you can contact the IRB or the Research Regulatory Office anyway in Western to determine for you if this research is human research or not. But it's nice always to have an idea about your research, if it is really constitutes a human subject research or not. So to determine that, you have to go and ask yourself specific questions in certain order. First of all, if this activity is really research or not, as Shizom said, this is to answer a specific question. Means there is a hypothesis and there is a plan for you, like methodology, specific aims, and you collect data to reach a conclusion. That constitutes, this is the first part of definition of research according to the Code of Federal Regulation. There is another part of that, and you are planning to generate generalizable knowledge from that. So you should have a plan for research, like a research hypothesis, and you have to determine how you're going to prove or disprove this hypothesis, and then, or the null hypothesis, of course, and then if this is going to generate a generalizable knowledge or not. If this is applicable to your project, this means this project is a research study. Is that clear? Any question? Then after that, you want to know if this is really involve a human subject or not. Okay? And is the human subjects research exempted or not? So those are three questions we need to answer to identify if this is a human subject research or not. And this is the first part in the protocol. We're going to come over to the application. We're going to come back to this later on. So let's get an example of that. If you want to submit a report like case report, is this human subject report, I mean study research or not? Like a case study or case report. Can you tell me if you need IRB approval or not for that, and why? Let me make it a little bit clear. You're doing rounds and you found a patient with a specific condition, and you wonder what is the diagnosis of this patient, like something strange or odd. And then you do some medical or clinical tests to reach to the diagnosis. And you found it interesting. And you want to share this with the scientific community. You want to publish this in a journal. So is this research or not in the first place?
Yeah, I'll say it's research.
It is research. Okay, let's take the vote. Kristen.
Yeah, I think it is.
All right. Lisha?
Yeah, I think it is.
V?
Yes, I agreed.
You all agree that this is research. Can we just review the definition of research we just talked about? What is research, as we said right now? Chisholm was talking about, you have a question. You want to answer this question.
Something with data collection, right?
Yeah. Is there a question here? Is there a hypothesis in the case report?
I mean, wouldn't the question be you're trying to see what diagnosis they have if you're unsure about it? Like if you need to investigate it further?
Okay. But is this planned, like you put a hypothesis and want to prove it?
No.
No. So that part is not applicable here. So is it gonna result in generalizable knowledge? Yes or no? Kristen?
No.
No. V?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Is this gonna result in generalizable knowledge?
No.
No. Jason?
I was thinking that it would, like, if it's a case report on, um, you said it was a case report on like an interesting case, right?
Right.
Like, isn't it supposed to educate the scientific community on like something about the case? Like, wouldn't that constitute generalizable knowledge?
Okay. Bishop.
Yeah, now I'm torn. I was like the same thought.
Okay. I mean, this is like a regulation, so they said no because this is very specific to that patient or to this case. So it is not going to generate generalizable knowledge. Anyways, since it is not planned, let's put it in another way. The other scenario, similar to that, these guys, when they saw this patient, they decided to search in the literature or in the other centers if there are cases similar to that. And they start to hypothesize, to put a hypothesis, if these symptoms or signs apply to this patient, like clinical finding. We're gonna get into that case, and we have to use so and so for diagnosis and treatment, and they start collecting data about these patients with a similar condition, and they start to study that and apply those data to the patients, and finally they come up with a plan and published this. So, is this now constitute research or not? Yeah, V, what do you think? We said the case report is not research because there is no hypothesis initially. Leave the generalizable knowledge. So your case report, you can go ahead and publish it without any IRB approval. You don't need it. You can contact them if you suspect, but from our knowledge here, it's not a research. Although it is a human subject in there, but it's not non-exempted. So it can be published without IRB because it is not research. But now with that scenario we just talk about, does this constitute research or not? Like the doctors now try to collect data about similar cases. They put a hypothesis for if you find so and so and so in this patient, the diagnosis is going to be so. And they started connecting to the other centers or literature review, meta-analysis, and find other similar cases. And they start putting this together and make the methodology like meta-analysis, and then collect data, and they start to have conclusion, and this conclusion is published in a journal or in a conference, or even they can talk it between each other. Do you think now this is a research or not research? V.
I think it's a research because if they collect data and they have hypothesis, so it's should
Right.
be considered.
Great. Kristen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Chizon.
Yes, I agree as well.
Felicia.
And
Yeah. Now it's research, and it involves humans. So it's a human subject research, and you have to have IRB approval. Okay? So let's go for another example here. If you do like a research on deceased persons, like as a complication of COVID or so, you want to collect the information about the mortality from certain condition associated with COVID. And you took the medical records of 10 deceased persons and start to collect data and study. Is it human subject research or not? And what hypothesis and everything in place? What do you think? V? Or leave V now, Kristen?
Is it human subject research?
Yeah.
Yes, if you're accessing their medical records.
All right. She's on.
I'd say yes as well.
Felicia.
I think so. I don't know if it would be constitute a case report, but I think it could.
Yeah. Although it relates to a human, but it's not considered in the Code of Federal Regulation to be human subject research. Because the definition of human subject research, you should interact or interfere with the living subject. So this doesn't count if the subject is deceased. Or if you do like cadaver dissection or something, and you want to just like collect samples or something to prove if this muscle abnormality or some vascular abnormality, as I saw in some research, is present in how many cadavers. So if the human is not living, deceased, so this is not non-exempted human subject research, let's say. So it's not gonna need approval from the IRB. Okay? Let's move to that. As we talk about, is it research or not? So if it's like planned research with a hypothesis and methodology and everything, is it generating generalizable knowledge or not? No, the common rule of the CFR does not apply, and then this is not required to get IRB as approval as human subject research if it's not research from the beginning. Yeah, if it's yes, then does it involve a human subject? Yes. No, if there is no human subject, like if this is the human or something, according to the regulation, the rule now doesn't apply, so no need for IRB approval. Exempted or not, we'll talk about that. If it's not exempted, we have to proceed to IRB review, the full committee. Now, we'll talk about the limited IRB. Limited IRB approval or review is like some of the IRB members, like 2 or 3 or 1, needed to determine if this is exempted or not. Like it's confusing for the coordinator by herself to approve it, to consider it exempted or not. So if it's not exempted, now if it needs like limited IRB review or not. If not, you don't require anything. If it requires, you go for determining that. Okay. I will take you now to the IRB website and let's see what they talk about. So sharing this and start sharing this. You see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. This is the website of the Institutional Review Board or IRB for Western. And they put questions here for you and information. And why IRB is the oversight, regulatory oversight for research that involves human subjects to protect their rights and welfare, right? As we talk. Even if you conduct this research internationally, so you have to have approval and apply here or just inform them. You have to inform our IRB here that you're doing international research if you are student or faculty or staff affiliated to Western U. All right, so those are the regulations and Code of Federal Regulation here. Do I need IRB or not? We talked about this. It's more complicated than this little bit. If we go to the chart from HSS, it's like a big chart here. If it's a systemic investigation designed to develop or contribute to generalizable knowledge, considered research. No. Activity is not research. You don't need anything. If yes, is it excluded or not? No. Activity is research. Does the research involve a living individual as we talk? No. So, does the research involve a living individual about whom an investigator conducting? So, it's a little complicated than what we talk, but it is the same idea. Now about the exemption here, like the quality improvement surveys and others. So, by the way, if you do research, which is like a real research study, and you don't publish it, do you need IRB or not? Do you need IRB approval for research, for human subject research you don't publish?
I think we still need it if it involves human research, human subjects.
Great. Kristen?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Chizon?
Yes, I agree. I think you still need IRB approval.
Felicia?
And yes, you still do need it.
Excellent. So either you published it or not, doesn't matter, since it confirms its research with these regulations here, systemic and designed to develop generalizable knowledge, whether you publish it or not. And it's a research, and it is non-exempted human research. You have to apply. Even with exempted, actually, I would apply and take the opinion of. And Western U, even if the research is exempted, as we'll talk, is you should apply for it and should get approval. But it shouldn't be like for the other types of research where you need full committee approval. It's going to take less time. If one person review it, make sure that it goes with the rules and ethical regulations, and it's going to be approved quickly. Okay. All right, let's go back. So we're going to get this complicated more than this. You need CT training as we talk. And at CT training, there is a module for the human subject research. The submission process. There is Office of Regulatory Research Affairs. You can call them if you have a question. And then there is an IRB with access like IRB net, you can go to this website and find the forms and everything and apply and submit your application. If you're not using this, there is how to register in this website. I'm going to show you the website, IRBnet website. And now you go for new project submission and you submit it. Those are the logistics of how to do and submit it. And the forms in that IRBnet, you will find all the forms here. I can show you the forms in there and the page for that IRBnet forms. And you click on that protocol like application, IRB protocol application, and fill it out. If it's survey or questionnaire, as we said, by the way, if the questionnaire is like, is it always like quality insurance questionnaires or surveys always exempted or not? What do you think, V?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, the surveys and questionnaires are usually exempted. We talked about non-exempted human research. Usually exempted. Is it always exempted, and why? The exempted is like, doesn't meet full IRB approval. Exempted from that. Is it always exempted, or you have to do something to make sure that it is exempted or not? Yeah, I mean, let's make it short here. Like, if it's gonna generate generalizable knowledge, if it has a hypothesis, and if it intervenes with the human subject, living human subject life, some intervention or gonna change the environment of that person or so on, can be considered for non-exempted research. So it's not always exempted, unless if it is going with some criteria, confirming with some criteria, it's exempted. If not, it can be considered non-exempted, and it has to have full board review. Okay? Now, their questions. Who should I contact? Okay, the coordinator and the numbers and everything. IRB, the timeline here. So it takes from 1 month, 30 days to 90 days to be approved. So if you're gonna apply for human subject research, you have to apply really early in the process to get your approval before you start your project. Even if you're collecting some human samples like biopsies or so on, with the identifiable information like this patient name and number and so on. Even if you de-identify them later on, you should apply for IRB protocol. Okay? And you should apply really early ahead so you can get it done. Because it's like even exempted is 30 days. Expedited 30 days, sorry. And within 90 days and 30 days for the exempted right. Even if it's exempted, it takes 30 days for maximum 30 days. It's within 30 days. Within 60 days if it's expedited, and expedited review is gonna be for minimal risk, no more than minimal risk for the subjects, like a survey with minimal risk to expose or breach the privacy of that persons or the subjects. It's going to be expedited, and the full review takes up to 90 days. Back and forth, if you need amendment, it's a process where the committee meet and vote on your project. Someone is gonna present it, and the others gonna vote if this is gonna be approved or needs modifications or whatever. Okay. So we need to like apply ahead of time. All right. I know it's like some administrative thing. It's not scientific, but you have to know something about it. It's like about the conduct of research. And it's going to be beneficial for you in your life in the future if you're not doing right now. So do you have any question? No questions at all?
Oh,
Is
but
it,
this was really helpful, so thank you.
is it really helpful or just waste of time?
No, I think it is. I feel like this is like human research is harder to do, so I thought it was helpful.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's actually not hard, but it needs some awareness. So my suggestion is always contact that office of regulatory affairs and ask, I want to do so and so. Do I need to apply? And then how to apply? I will show you the website here. Let me get it. Second. Of the IRB.net, and you can create an account. You see it? Do you see
Yeah,
IRB.net
we can
website?
see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the profile, and those are the forms here. This is IACOG, and you can change the IACOG to IRB from the drop down here. This is for members because I'm a member. But this is for, and even there's for research that's done here in California. There's experimental subject bill of rights. This is California. Do you see that or see it? Or I need to share another thing.
No, we can't see it.
You don't see it. Let me here. See it now?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, this is like the local state bill of rights to the subject sharing and research. You have to include this with the every consent you do for patients here in California. So there are federal regulations and there is also state regulations. One of them, this is, and you have to go through the all point, inform that person about nature and purpose, explanation of the procedure, description, and benefits. And even if it's not benefiting the person directly, benefits the community or not. Information to get medical treatment in case of complications like injury or any other complication. And concerning your procedure, if they have questions, and give them your contacts to call you. And if they are willing to participate, they will sign the consent, but they can withdraw that consent anytime they wish. And how, if they want to give an opportunity to get information about this research and how they can get it. Okay. All right. We have Alia here. We didn't talk to Alia at all. Hello, Alia. Hello. All right. Any questions? So anybody is like doing some human research now?
I'm doing human research.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What type of research? Is it sample or patients?
Patients.
You
Yeah.
see patients. Did you have the IRB approval?
Yeah, but I'm working at OHSU, so it's not with Western. So yeah, it's through that institution.
Even if it's not with Western, since you are a Western student, you have to contact that office and tell them I'm doing this research. I'm a student here. Do I need to submit my approval from the other IRB or any paperwork to fill out?
Oh, well, I did all the IRB paperwork already for there.
For there, but you have to inform IRB in your institute as well, since you are part of this institute. Because we had a problem with one faculty who did research outside, like internationally, and he didn't inform Western, and they created problem. They want to remove the affiliation at this time until that Western didn't give permission, and they came back on the publication, sent to the journal, and so on. So
Okay,
you
so
make
can I
sure,
reach out to you about this?
yeah, reach out to Office of Regulatory
Okay,
Affairs.
no one told me this, so this is news to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, just
Um,
like that's why we're talking
interesting.
here.
Okay.
If you're affiliated or as
I'll
we
email
show
you
in
then. That's okay.
the even if it's international, you're not here only. You have to inform your institute where you are part of that institute as a student or faculty. Okay.
Who
So
should I reach out to?
Official of Regulatory Affairs, Jennifer Baker, or they provided the number in the website I showed.
I'll reach out to Jennifer. That sounds good.
Yeah, I will show you that one again. Here, that office and their number. Ask it, ask it. Here's the number, 909-469-5606, or email irbsubmission@west. Okay. Just can talk to them and see if the regulatory affair and the IRB the same number. So you just reach out with this phone number and ask. Okay. Right. So this is the part they talk about state and local regulation for human subject research conducted internationally, national and local. So even internationally, you have to inform. And as we said, if you're going to take another IRB approval, you have to inform them. And you may submit this IRB approval to them, so they approve it. Okay. What did you do for application? Did you apply in the IRB of that institute, Chris?
My PI has the project going for a while, so she just added me to it after I did everything.
Okay, so it is already approved
Yes, it's
by
been the
IRB.
project's been ongoing for years.
Okay. So this is like administrative something to add a person or something to, but you have to have the city training for that, I think.
Yeah, that's all been done. I've already been added.
All right, sounds good. Okay. The PI belongs to Western.
No, they're at Oregon Health and Science University.
Okay. Anyways, just
I'm
talk
in
to them.
Oregon. I'm at the Lebanon campus.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
talk to the IRB. It's one IRB for both campuses. It's one college, they said, two campuses, one
Okay.
college.
I mean, this is just going to really affect my research if I have to apply for a whole nother IRB right now. So,
No, you're not probably gonna apply for the IRB.
okay.
at least to inform them, and they will tell you what to do.
Okay.
So in the future, when you get your name in the publication or something, it's not gonna create problem later on. Like you're gonna say I'm Western, right? A student at that time, right? Okay. Any questions? If none, we're probably gonna say bye and leave you in peace.
Bye. Thank you.
Dr. Radwan.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
go ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.